Hello and welcome to my tutorial here with my Cybertruck and the setup of cameras that I'm using in order to live stream. The first thing I want to mention is that in my live streams, I am using two cameras. So one is on the roof and it's being held by a magnetic mount. So you can see the three magnets there. Then the camera is a GoPro 12. It is encased in a media mod. And it does have a max lens 2.0 on it, which gives me a wider field of view so that you actually can see more that happens to the left and to the right of the truck instead of just having a narrow view forward. As I'm making my way over here to the other side of the camera, you will see that the media mod has three outlets. One on the top with this red cable going inside, it's an HDMI mini that goes directly to the computer. The next one is an USB-C cable which keeps the camera charged, and below I have a microphone that goes in there, allowing me to record what's inside the cabin instead of just recording the wind noise on the camera directly. So next here, while I'm going over inside the cabin, you will see the two microphones. One is the microphone that records to the top camera. The other one records to my second camera here, a GoPro Black 13, also with a media mod and also with a max lens 2.0 for a wider field of view so you can actually see to the left and to the right again. Going back to the top here, the three counter magnets for the magnetic mount that I have on the roof. I went to Mexico in order to drive like 90 miles per hour and it does not move at all. Those magnets are staying really strong. Coming back down here, you see some blinking lights. That's an active cooling fan with a TEC technology. It helps me to keep the camera cool. I usually in the summertime have overheating problems with the camera. But since I have been using this fan, I don't really have those issues anymore. Going back up here is my wireless receiver for my Rode microphone, which I have pinned to my chest with a magnet mount. Here then my newest, coolest edition that I have, a wireless receiver that is connecting my camera wirelessly while still connected to the laptop. As you can see on the laptop screen that I'm showing you, I'm walking away and the signal is still being sent to the laptop, and therefore it is also still being streamed while I'm live streaming. The best on all of this is without actually having a wired connection, I can roam around freely. I can walk away from the car. This wireless system allows you to record up to a distance of 650 feet, which means I can just freely walk around. I can talk to other people that I meet at a supercharger. I can show you how I plug in, and all still being connected, as you can see here on my laptop, to the laptop itself and still being able to stream. Streaming itself is being done by using a Starlink. That's a Starlink Standard dish. I used both of them. I used a Starlink Mini. And comparing both of them to each other, of course, the Standard dish has a faster upload speed. That's mainly important for me while I'm live streaming. The download speed is not so much of importance because I am sending the signal and I'm not really looking to receive it. Then moving here to the back of the truck, I have my wireless router just laying there on top of the headrest. Here on the bottom part, I have a DJI power station, which is connected to the outlet of the truck itself to keep all those devices charged and going so there is no interruption or loss of power. The reason why I'm using a DJI is very simple. When the truck is below 10% state of charge, the outlet here will turn off. And sometimes when you unplug or when you plug in the charger, it will also interrupt the power just for a little bit, enough for the Starlink to start rebooting and therefore losing my streaming connection, which means I have to start a new stream, and that's not really what I want. Before the DJI, I used to have a uninterrupted power device, which had a battery inside too. The problem was that I wasn't able to read what it says on the display, but now with the DJI, I have my iPhone connected to it, meaning I can sit in the front seat. I can use my iPhone to see what the state of charge is on this DJI, basically to see what's going on and remotely connect to this device, which is of course way better than having to turn around and try to read a small display all on the back seat of your car. Then all those cables, as you can see, they are just loosely hanging here at the door. I'm closing it. They are being tucked in by the window itself and held in place. But let's cut back to the original recording that I did explaining how the cameras are being connected to the computer inside OBS. As you can see, I have both of those signals, like the camera in the cabin and the camera on the roof. Both of them are coming in here to OBS. Inside OBS, I'm mixing them together. I cut off the top part so that you get this view here, and only have the cabin view kind of me cut off here, which when I edit the videos later, I obviously fill this back in so that my head is not kind of cut off right here. So that's basically what we have here going on. All the video signals, two of them, roof, cabin, going in through those two capture cards here, and being recorded onto the laptop itself. That's the way how I stream, and I will show you then in OBS how I set everything up. Now on to the screen here. What I'm doing in here is both of those video signals come in. So let me show you this. For the cabin, it's a capture card, and that's the screen resolution that I use, 384 or 380, 3840 by 2160, sorry. And I'm using 30 frames per second. That's what I'm using on each of them. So the same for the roof camera. That's how that actually looks like when it comes in. Same resolution there. And here is my wireless microphone that I'm using. So this is basically coming in here. When I use my iPhone, basically kind of like this. When I use my iPhone with the wireless microphone and transmitter, I mean, I plug this in, and so then if I want to turn this on, if it does work right now, I don't think it does. Let's see. So it does work. So this is the camera now that you see. So that's the one that I was walking around the car earlier. Again, not being tethered to anything. It's just basically the iPhone going straight into or I have to show this here, going straight into this transmitter, and then going up here to this one here. All right, so turn this off, and then basically back here to my two GoPros, and in that way, while I stop at the supercharger or so, or anything else I have to get out of the car, I'm going to be able to still live stream, but not with those two cameras alone. So that's what's happening. I have on each of those cameras, I have a filter source record, and when I'm showing you this with source record, it starts recording either when I'm streaming or recording, and it creates its own file, It has a few more settings in here. I'm scrolling through it. You can see this. And what I'm using here is a hardware Apple HEVC video encoder. And then I'm using this quality. Actually, I wanted to change this. Let me do this real quick. I wanted to use the this hardware encoding, and probably cannot really change this right now because I'm in the middle of recording, and wanted to bump this up to 35. No, actually, let's use 40,000 kilobits per second, and gonna close this one and do the same for the roof filter, and then here too gonna change this to oh, it already is. Okay, so that's what I wanted. And yeah, bump this up a bit for the recording. And actually what I also do is I record a different microphone. Where's that setting? Here. So that each of those cameras is being recorded separately. And I can record both of them, this mix that I have here, onto the hard disk as well. So in actuality, this looks like that. I have my folder here. There's the mix, that is this one that you see here. Then there's the roof camera that is basically recording to the hard disk. And then there's the cabin camera that is basically recording to the hard disk. So that's how the whole thing works. All right, so here now, going to studio.x.com to the producer tab. And in here, I'm setting up my live stream. So I have sources. I have sources in all different places. Laptop East Coast, laptop West Coast, and so on. Streaming with OBS. I have set up a few profiles, but if you want to create your own, if you don't have any in there, you go to create source. You give it a name. Then you select a region. Obviously, I'm here on the East Coast. But if I travel over to the West Coast, then I would use this one. East Coast, obviously here. Would pick this one. That's pretty much all you do. Once you create it, you get the streaming key at this point. So the streaming key for this one looks like this. So if you use this URL and this streaming key, you would now be able to connect to my my streaming profile, but I'm gonna delete this later. So in the end, when you connect the stream to it, then you will see what your input is, what is recommended. So right now, obviously, since I didn't start the streaming, nothing is happening here. But either way, this would be how you do this. Click on done, and then you have created one streaming profile. Obviously, I'm going to delete this. I'm not going to give you a key. And if you go into the broadcasts, you see here the ones that I have done. I could obviously show more. And if you want to create a broadcast, you go to the live tab, create a broadcast. Here, you would now pick, again, a name. So I'm using this real quick. You would have a category. I'm using automotive. And then you can say what source you want to use. I'm using this one with my laptop. So now I'm basically being connected. And if I start the streaming, so it looks for a stream. So if I start the streaming now here, then OBS will connect through my Starlink and send my stream up to to studio.x.com, basically, to that URL that you saw here. That's the URL that I'm using in here as my output here for the streaming, basically. And in my output, I have the streaming settings that I have. Right now, they look like this. I'm reducing it down to 1280 by 720. And I have 6,000 kilobytes per second, keyframes every 3 seconds. So that's kind of recommended. And when that all works, as you can see now, this is the signal that I have coming in from the two cameras, streaming directly on to the platform. So if I make this now public, then I can start driving around and I'm actually streaming while I'm also recording to my hard disk here. So let me, for streaming tutorial. So do this, create my broadcast. So now that I'm actually really live, oh, did I use private? No, I use public. Okay. So what's going on here? So usually what I do is I use my iPhone as a monitor in order to see how the stream is working. So let me do that. Go to X. And I think my hair spongy thingy is now not needed anymore. And then I can see what's going on. And let me basically stop the screen recording right now. Stop that. And close this. Okay. So yeah, that's how I'm streaming. And let me turn the volume down on this one. And then I clip my phone basically to the somewhere here with my holder in order for me to see this. And then I enter a target. Show me the nearest Publix around. So
the nearest Publix supermarket at Brazelton Village is just 0.3 miles away at Brazelton Village Parkway in Brazelton.
Yep.
I have it up on the map for you.
Goodbye. So that's it. I'm going to start the drive. And that's basically how the whole thing works. I will, the explanation that I had going on earlier, I will obviously put this up at some point after editing everything. I will put this up on X and probably do a YouTube video as well. So that's the way I'm live streaming. There are several other ways. Obviously you can use your phone directly. That works too. But it doesn't give you this sort of overview that I have right now. I do like the Max lens, which is giving me a better view, field of view, especially instead of just having that tiny little view window just to the front. And yes, you have a little bit of your dashboard and so on, but you don't really see anything to the side. And again, I don't really like that. I want to be able to show you more so that you have a better view. So that's why I'm going through this length of editing everything using multiple cameras, using the software OBS and all those things that are going on.